Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again to Going Vocal. Today we will be discussing the Twisha suicide case that happened a few days back and how conflict in modern marriages vis-a-vis, the ideals of the past are affecting Indian society. On the panel, I have with me Anupam Singh, Hemant, Suresh, who you've been seeing for the past many weeks. And we have Vandana again back with us. So hi Vandana, how are you? Lovely to see you.
Thank you. Thanks, Rahul. I'm doing good.
Yes. So a few days back, Twisha Sharma, a young lady, committed suicide post 5 months of marriage. So she had been only married for 5 months, and it was a fantastic affair, her marriage. She met her husband online. They completely fell head over heels in love with each other. Same community and so on and so forth that is so important to the Indian traditional ethos, and they were married within a few weeks of their meeting. So she wasn't able to handle this. Apparently, she was a model. She had worked as a model for many months in Pune, and her mother-in-law, Giribala Singh, was a senior judge in the High Court. I think she was a senior judge in the High Court in, I'm not sure, Haryana, I think. I'm not very sure exactly where it was. But she is one of the prime accused in abetting that suicide. It's believed that she accused the girl of her modeling career and having dated men in the past, and being a highly conservative family, they struggled with understanding the nature of their daughter-in-law, apparently. And as per her daughter-in-law also was using marijuana and was a schizophrenic as well, which a lot of people contest, especially the family of the young girl. So yes, today we'll be discussing this conflict between modernity and traditional values. Vandana, let's hear your opinion first of all. What do you think about this conflict that seems to be occurring? It's not just in the Twisha Sharma case. We see a lot of crimes of passion across India. It's one of the most spoken about crimes nowadays in India. And a lot of husbands murdering wives, wives murdering husbands for lovers, lovers getting murdered by wives for husbands, and so on. It's a big mix nowadays. And most of these murders also make it to the national news. So what do you think about traditional values and modern values, conflict and marriage?
Thank you, Rahul. Thank you for this opportunity. And definitely, it's a very interesting topic for today. And I also feel there is probably not one reason, or you cannot funnel it down to a couple of them. There could be multiple reasons behind these kind of murders or violence that happens. But I'll just highlight a couple of them that comes to my mind now. One of it is this gender bias that I think is very prevalent. The expectations out of a lady and a man in a relationship is hugely different. So a lady is expected to deliver much more in a relationship than what a man has to. So especially when you're talking about a joint family or living with, it's not just the husband and wife, and there are other elements in the family. It could be your in-law, sister-in-law, brother-in-law, whatever that is. This kind of gets much more serious, because you will have the lady or the bride or the new wife is expected to fit the frame and fit the expectations of many. So that is one. On the other side, from the girl's perspective, I also feel many girls today as much as they want their freedom, they want their, want to live their life, their dreams and all of that. At some point, I feel they want to also fit into this good wife sort of a thing, where they get fooled, or I would say, I wouldn't call it immaturity. I think it's an essential part of a woman's life to be in a marriage, to have children, to raise their own kids. And I do not want to demean any of it, but then they fail to sort of adjust or transition And that is also where this conflict comes up, and it is a huge amount of stress for most of them, especially if you are not independent, I would say. In her case, in Twisha's case, I do understand she was a model, she's probably educated as well, but I am not sure about if there is a financial independence that she had out of her profession or her job or whatever that is.
I doubt she had one, actually.
Yeah, so that
Yes.
I feel is a very important component. If you want to follow your dreams, as so someone said, money is not everything in life, but it can buy all that is important. I mean, it's needed for everything else, right? So if you it's not everything, but it funds everything that you need. So that is a very important component when women or girls, young women who want to pursue their dreams or they want to live the life that they want, you should also be very mindful about the financial component of it. So that is one thing that comes to my mind first. And all the brides, when she's a bride or to be bride, the families want them to be educated, they want them to be accomplished, they want to have them, I mean, they want the girl to have a good high paying job, but the same job and the career that actually seemed attractive to the family becomes a burden to them once she's married. Then she'll have to leave the job for the family, for the kids, for everything else. It's very sorry to say, a lot of families today still look at the bride like an unpaid maid. I mean, I do not want to use that word, but then they still look at her as somebody who can probably do the household chores, at the same time go and earn and come back and be a good mother, wife, daughter-in-law, and other all of that, right? So it's not possible. I'm not somebody who's particularly happy with seeing those ladies with 16 hands. Usually it comes out in Women's Day or Mother's Day and all of that. And I am not somebody who enjoys seeing that. Like, she has a broom in one hand, at the same time she has a laptop in the other. No, it doesn't have to be that way. And that's not a good portrayal according to me. Of course, that's the hard truth. So I'll stop it at that and then probably listen to others'
I
thoughts
think
as well and then come back and add.
your ideas on financial independence are really crucial here, because I think financial independence is a very important thing in any household, whether you're a man or a woman. If you find yourself in a position where you don't have a job or you're not earning, instantly your power goes down a lot, and you
Yes,
start
of
finding
course.
that you're disrespected. Even for men, because I've found like certain people who become grandfathers and find themselves no longer with a job. Suddenly their daughters, their children, their wives are all beginning to disrespect them and treat them badly. So I think a level of financial independence is sometimes very crucial inside a household for you to be able to have that voice you're looking for. But it's possible that this young lady, Twisha Sharma, did not have that level of financial independence with her at that particular point in time. So yes, Hemant, I think Vandana had mentioned something about the ladies, a lot of expectations being placed just on the ladies. It's true, we did place a lot of expectations on our ladies. I personally believe we did that a lot more for our aunts and our mothers and so on and so forth when it came to that kind of expectations as a society. I mean, not me, because of course we couldn't make any expectations out of our mothers and aunts, but the society themselves probably expected ladies, a generation prior to us, to have those 15 hands. Do you agree with Vandana that men also are, there's not a lot of expectations placed on men as well? What is your opinion, Hemant?
Yeah, actually, thank you, Mr. Rahul, and
In the modern world,
nice to hear some good feedback from Vandana. Yes, actually the times have changed. Previous marriages which are held one generation ago and marriages happening today, there's a veil of a difference, because one thing is ladies have become more educated, more independent, and I think they are also become more communicative and assertive, maybe in some cases aggressive. So expectations, as Vandana pointed out, yes, the Indian society has expectations from the ladies, but similarly from the man also. So men also, it's not like it's only a one-way traffic. Men also have their own pressures in many ways, especially since working in today's marriages where the lady is working, the man also has to compete. There are many cases where the man feels jealous about the lady getting a promotion. It could happen, isn't it? Because there may come a stage where the lady gets a higher pay than the man, not because the man is incapable, but that is how the corporate works, isn't it? So that definitely puts some pressure on the man also. So basically, as far as this particular case of Trisha, Sharma is concerned, I think one thing is the generation. The generation has changed, isn't it? So the slightly out, maybe is, what I'm saying is slightly out of slightly deviating from your question, but the main thing is we are talking about human relations. So one thing is the mother-in-laws of today also have to understand. They should not. One thing is they should not interfere. Basically, a lady, especially ladies, Indian ladies, they are very possessive. Once they see their son getting married, they feel that they have lost him. So they actually, see, when your son gets married, it's not going to be like what it was before marriage, isn't it? So he's getting married to somebody else. So he'll be more devoted to his partner. So ladies should not interfere. In this case, there was interference seemingly from Trisha's mother-in-law. And another thing is, I think the girls need to be taught how to be more resilient, because life is not going to be smooth. It is not, we should not run away from problems. Probably if you were to look into this particular case, and in general other cases where both the girls and men committing suicide, I think they should be more communicative. They can be more assertive in their communication and more mentally resilient. They need not get depressed, because when depression comes, that is when you get this suicidal tendencies. There is always, in psychology, they say that once you surrender yourself, once you become meek, then the other person will try to put his foot down. That is any situation, whether it is in the company or in the personal life. So this could have taken a different. This could have come out differently if there was non-interference from the mother-in-law and also the daughter-in-law or the girl. Not only in this case, but the girls in general. It should be more. I'm not saying all girls are like this. There are some tough nuts to crack, but you need to be a tough nut. So you need to be more. So tough nut means you need to be communication. Why should you run away? Isn't it? It's your life. So yes, and also the husband. Yeah, husband also. I think. The husband also should be more supportive. It is not like, whatever his mother says, he has to nod his head and listen. He should be more supportive, isn't it? He could have told his mother, please don't interfere in my wife's. I am not having any problem. If whatever her past, probably in this case, the husband might have understood her past life and knowingly he might have married her. So what is there for the mother to get disturbed about all that? Whether she smokes marijuana or whatever, that is the husband's headache, isn't it? So he should not, the mother also, he should have also said that. He should have told that. He should have openly supported his wife, and he should have told, don't worry about all this, I am there to support you. So that probably that could have built up more mental strength, and she could have avoided, this situation could have been avoided. Yes, Mr. Rao, you are telling me. So this is what I have
actually. This concept of resilience that you were discussing is very interesting, because I believe that her own father and mother had asked her to be resilient and asked her to remain at that house. So a lot of families do try to train the daughters to become resilient, but sometimes it's just emotionally overwhelming for many of the girls. They come from another house and they come to a new house, and there's so much expectations being set by different people on this particular girl, right? So much expectations that she has to do a lot, and it might be a tremendous burden. On top of that, it's possible that the husband, who at one point liked her very much, probably was okay about her modeling, when you turn into a marriage now, the expectations change. So if you're dating someone or you have a girlfriend, you have a certain expectation from her, and when the moment you turn into marriage, your expectations, your visions, your ideas about certain things are have changed. Roles have changed. Now you look at the girl that you love or the girl that you really are attracted to now as the mother of your children or as the mother of your future generations. Now you start having expectations. Now this again can be overwhelming for many women, especially when they are alone in a new environment, which we generally don't tend to see. I think in the past, perhaps the girl was, there was a lot more she agreed to do because her peers would probably have done the same thing. But nowadays, I doubt that many girls do that, because the images that they get from the television and from network and new thoughts and ideas that permeate societies right across the world, she probably doesn't want to follow anything else but that. So she doesn't want to go into the traditional system anymore, and maybe rightfully so. Like the world has changed, and we do have to change according to the world. And Anupam, what is your take on this particular thing that I just mentioned? And how do you think that we can manage this? How can we manage this kind of a conflict where the husband suffers, or even the wife, possibly the wife also might like a man in a certain way. Once she's married to him, her expectations of him change. She starts having a father kind of, this gentleman should be completely supplying all the finances to the household. She starts to see him as somebody who should be the one managing the household completely. Her money to her, his money to the household, because it's a traditional value system, isn't it? That the man's money is spent, and she naturally, just like the things are expected out of her, it is possible she expects the husband to do certain things as well, or behave in certain patterns which he's not used to as well. Yeah. So how do you think, Anupam, this conflict that exists, it's a question I did ask Vandana, but from this new perspective that we have, this particular traditional conflict and this modern conflict, how do you think it can be managed, these kind of thoughts? Like, how can we manage a husband or a wife, adjusting to these new roles, having these, like Hemant said, getting tougher? And how do you expect her parents to handle this as well? I mean, because they would ask her to stay in that house, be tough, stay resilient, but maybe she just wants to come back home for a few weeks. Tell me how you think that this can be managed. Your opinions are always a diamond.
Hello. Yeah, I think it's
Yes.
it's an important factor over here where we are discussing about one's a suicide case. So someone has killed himself or herself. That means
Can you be a
that
bit louder on the phone? Yeah, slightly louder.
we say that someone has killed himself or herself, then there are a lot of people that are involved. Not only she was responsible for it because she might have been forced to kill herself, and the reasons could be multiple. I think first reason could be suicide cannot be the cannot be an escape code for anyone for that matter, because I think that's a worst decisions ever taken by anyone. I guess because it's a life, it's your choices, right? You thought that you would marry that guy, and then you accepted that whatever things that will happen in life, I'll accept, and there will be difficulties with life. Anyways, will have its difficulties. Then you'll have to handle it the way it should be handled, not the way she did. So I would say, but we also don't know what things were happening around her. A lot of cases that you discussed, like she was also accused of having multiple relationships, then the marijuana cases and all those things. But I don't know if these are real or not, or just has been put in case. They wanted that case to be stronger on their side, basically on the uh, right side. So I would say that it's a difficult case, and it's already being handled to CBI because of this only, because there was many miscalculations, and then very powerful people were involved. So they thought that let's not keep it to the local police. Let's send this case to CBI, where
I
there
believe
will
the postmortem had
be,
some problems
yes,
also.
postmortem also had some problems. But I think in the second postmortem also the report said that she was she killed. She was. It was a suicide case, but there were some injury marks on her bodies. But those were fresh body marks, or the it was done previously, or maybe in the recent past. That has to be, I think, investigated more. But coming on to the point where we can be resilient, I think these are the difficult phases these days, because a lot of pressure on your end because of the social media. She was a lot of involvement because she was a model. She had to take care of her career as well, because she has her expectations, and on those grounds she would have uh, decided to marry this guy. And they I think met on social sites, socialite only, because I think these are the things which I think many people say that we should go for arranged marriages, because let others also people involved in your decision, otherwise you can have problems. And I think that's a major thing. But anyway, this is a cultural shift, and also where we are on a on a generation which is kind of a Gen Z, because they like to do
I
their
think
own
it
things.
was a kind of arranged marriage, although it was through the social media site. I think they matched all the other community-based requirements, and all other
Okay.
requirements were met, and parental acceptance was all there. So I think it was a traditional arranged marriage, just using technology, that is social media site,
Okay, okay,
for yes, yes,
okay, fair
yes, yeah.
enough. I think then in that case also, like you said previously, that there can be expectations change, where before marriage you have some other expectations, and after marriage you will have to uh, change your way of your thinking, your way, the way you are living your life. It's completely a different phase. That is why we divide our life into different phases. Where teenagers, then after that you are graduate, then there's another life where you get married, then you have children. That's another life. Then after retirement, you have a different life. So you have to match it accordingly, and you have to change your mindset as well. So I think she was, maybe I'm saying, I'm not putting a lot of questions on her side, but maybe she was not very reluctant to change her lifestyle. That could also have been a case where there will be conflicts within the family, and that would have risen these cases. But like Hemant also said, we have to be assertive in our communication. That's a very important thing. I think all the missing part anywhere in the world, even when there is a war, I think the missing thing is the communication. The communication was missing over here, and it could have been solved calmly by bringing all the families together, not just putting the just postponing these kind of discussions, because these are hard discussions. You don't really want to sit in front and talk, but I think when we have these kind of certain issues, you have to sit together, whole family, both families together, then bride and groom, and discuss these things in a very peaceful manner, because you have decided to marry. And especially in Indians, and also in our religion, it's the way it is. You have to keep your uh, there are two aspects where people say that you have to keep your marriage successful, even if you are not feeling well, or you do not find your opinions well about your partner after marriage. This is what we are taught in our families. I think this kind of shift should also be there, because uh, cases like this happens because she might would have found herself alone, because nobody was supporting her. Maybe her parents were also, like you said, was forcing her to keep herself in that house, and somehow compromise the situations. But I think nowadays it's a lot of pressure on both sides, because family pressure, then career pressure, then you have financial pressures. A lot of things are there, and when you are living together in a joint family, there are other pressures like mother-in-law, father-in-law. A lot of things comes into picture, and like Vandana said, there are a lot of pressures on the female side, and I agree with that. But there are certain things that also has to be understood from the others, from the female's perspective, that you have to change your lifestyle once you have uh, decided to marry, because it will be there will be changes, because even a male also changes his lifestyle. He does not party that much, and he has its responsibilities. So both ways has to be responsible, and the communication, I think, was the gap over here. Communicating all things together, which is lacking in our whole cultural especially Indian culture, like in previous podcasts also we discussed, where we are not very open to communication. So I think that also is major culture shift that needs in our generations, and I think that is coming up. Gen Zs are those people who likes to speak up. That should be the way forward, I guess.
So communication is definitely, I also agree with you, communication with all of you, in fact. Communication is one of the most crucial things in making sure, the marriages go successful. I'd also say we need to we need to train our men to think that if they were to go to their wife's house and live there, and there was a lot of expectations, from them, how would life be? You have your father-in-law starts asking you about your previous life, and your father-in-law starts talking down to you because he believes you used alcohol or marijuana or whatever it is during your teenage years. I mean, how would life be for you as a guy? I think once we think about that, we can't imagine. Okay, it's a horrible thought, and so I think a lot of girls, especially in the Indian context, end up facing something that many of us can't think about, right? I mean, just imagine you had to live under your father-in-law, with your father-in-law being the patriarch, and you be the second in command, and there were so many expectations, and when your wife, you have to fast from morning till night for your wife. I think that is very, very difficult. And your father really expects your father-in-law expects that out of you, and gets angry because you haven't fasted, waiting for your wife during Karwa Chauth, or things like that. I think a lot of people would tremble. A lot of men would tremble at the thought. So we have to respect our girls for making that effort. And I think our families should know, okay, my daughter she's gone there, she's gone to a completely new place, and that is a difficult thing. If she wants to come back for a month or two, or a few weeks, so support her. Let her come back, rest in her mom's house. Nothing like your mother. So for both men and women, there is nothing like your mom. She's the most precious thing, and so maybe she needs to go back and spend a little time with her mom. So that's one of the things. Okay, sir, it's back to you now, as a father-in-law yourself. Let us see. If your daughter-in-law, you walk around your house and you begin to see your daughter-in-law feeling down and depressed, and not really being communicative, how would you handle such a situation? And maybe there's conflict, because conflict is something in every household, because there is no household that escapes conflict. And the thing is, you see that there is a conflict between your son and your daughter-in-law, and there's a lot of intensity. Your wife is also getting involved. Under such a situation, how would you handle the household, and how would you manage this conflict?
Good morning, all. Thank you all for your valid comments. I enjoyed it very well. First of all, let me say that I was not aware of this Twisha Sharma case, but such incidents are happening in Kerala also, a very highly educated state. My comments are like this: circumstances lead to conflicts. I was married 34 years ago. At that time, my wife had not got any job. I was only the earning member, and I drew a salary of 4-digit number. So it was not possible to survive my own, because I was the only earning member of the family. So I could not rent out a home for me and wife. So I had to depend on my parents. My father died long ago, but my mother was there. So conflicts occurred there. So that is why my suggestion is that financial stability is the basis of any successful marriage. More than love, trust. We say such cliche words that love and trust are the basic factors of a successful life. I don't agree with that. Financial stability. If both the partners have jobs and earning members, you can survive your own. Otherwise, you have to depend upon your parents. In my case also, when I was drawing a 4-digit salary, I could not buy a bicycle. Now, after the passing of time or passage of time, my salary jumped to 5-digit figure. My wife got employment as a teacher. Slowly, my economic growth started, thanks to the growing Indian economy also. Because when I joined as a journalist, 38 years ago, nearly 40 years ago, my monthly salary was meager 750 rupees per month. 750 rupees per month. From that income, I could not rent out a building to live. So when my wife also got job, when my income also increased, we slowly started to earn, and we rented a house of our own. So conflicts among family members began to reduce, but there were conflicts between husband and wife also. So in the initial ages, I had to depend on my family, and my wife had to depend on her family for survival. They helped us financially, but not much bigger. So what I wanted to stress is that if both the partners are earning sufficiently, I think there are less chances of conflict. In the case, I am now a father and father-in-law, as you said. Both my son and daughter-in-law are working professionals in Bangalore. They are earning their own, so they need not depend on both of us, both families. So they are self-reliant on their own. They rented out a flat in Bangalore, and they are living as there. So they contact us through phone or WhatsApp, or they come here once in a while, means once in 3 months. So chances of conflicts are less as of now. As you said, regarding your question, my daughter-in-law, as a new generation girl, she is very silent, but didn't do any daily routine jobs. My wife still cleans the house, cleans the utensils, cook food. Everything is done by my wife. My daughter-in-law has no such what do you call practice of
work. Yeah, modern girls are different. Generally, comparative.
She didn't know how to sweep the rooms or clean the utensils. But as they are alone in Bangalore, she know how to cook. She learned through YouTube. YouTube. So the new generation daughters-in-law are inexperienced in handling family, unlike our generation. If a problem occurs, they don't know how to overcome those problems, because new generation were taught like this in their atmosphere, in the society. So these are the few points I want to add.
Okay, fantastic. So actually, we've come to a conclusion with what you have said. That is, basically, nowadays a lot of the men and women expect something else, right, from you. Like your daughter-in-law has completely no idea how to do what traditionally girls were expected to do. So we have a change in society that definitely also requires a change in the way that we look at the roles. That we assess how men and women should be treated, even if they are not as financially independent as we expect. Like as in the case of Twisha Sharma, it's possible that she wasn't financially independent like her husband was, and that may have been the reason that such a level of conflict occurred in the household, and maybe she was expected to do traditional things such as cleaning the dishes, so on and so, which she had no ideas of how to do either, which may have created that level of conflict in her household, finally leading to her suicide. Yes, we're out of time now, and I would like to thank all of you for your valued inputs, Your ideas were really fantastic, and we hope that the genders can actually go about being who they naturally are. That is, being together, realizing that they are nothing without each other, and getting that value that is really required for each other. And all these suicides and murders and deaths and conflict and confusion that is occurring between our genders, especially when it comes to things such as marriage and love, stops occurring. So we need a little peace and a little understanding for us to get there as a society. Yeah. Okay, guys. Thank you very much. And to our viewers, I request you to subscribe if you've enjoyed our show. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye.